In the U.S., Occupy protesters have descended on a quiet California redwood retreat, where some of the world's elite gather every year. Demonstrators say the 2 weeks, officially portrayed as a time of rest and relaxation, is really a chance to discuss plans for the world's future. So naturally, RT had to send Abby Martin to Bohemian Grove to see what it is that triggers those rumors and growing protests.
There's millionaires, billionaires, the people that control the world, control the central banks, that build nuclear weapons. I mean, this is their summer playground.
Straight from the San Francisco airport, I headed to Monte Rio, a city with beautiful redwoods and picturesque coastlines. The perfect getaway for the world's rich and powerful. And in fact, every year, CEOs, media moguls, and high-level politicians flock here to the Bohemian Grove's secluded campout.
They're making business deals there. They're talking policy. So there are a lot of conversations.
A claim which members deny.
Their motto here is that weaving spiders come not here, which they claim means there's no business discussions. It's just a vacation for the wealthy men.
Author and activist Mark Dice has a rare Grove yearbook issued every decade, showing everything from men in drag to high-profile politicians giving speeches. The book shows George W. Bush and his father giving lakeside talks, along with Presidents Jimmy Carter and Richard Nixon. Others who have attended are David Brooks of the New York Times, along with CEOs from CNN and Fox, Jimmy Buffett, David Rockefeller, and Henry Kissinger. Mark also has an official 2005 membership list of Grove attendees.
Your typical warmongers, George Bush Sr., Colin Powell, Richard Pearl, and your typical Republican establishment insiders.
Hundreds heeded the call to protest.
The people in the Grove are about to be conquered.
Activist Felipe Messina worries about dangerous policies that are drafted from within the redwoods.
The nuclear program was discussed here and then developed later. The fact that Reagan was here in '80, and then afterwards we had the Reagan Revolution.
We know what you're doing. We know what goes on in here.
An event with so little transparency has bred theories, some of them pretty wild, about what goes on the inside. Especially at the cremation of care ritual, where Grove members burn a coffin effigy to a 40-foot owl. Peace and justice activist Cindy Sheehan speculates on the lack of media coverage.
Because they're part of it. You know, they're the propaganda arm for the 1%.
The corporate media is the 1%. I mean, if you look at it that way, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, they are the corporate 1%. They're not going to do negative stories about themselves, about capitalism, about global empire and war.
How can someone own a 2,000-year-old redwood grove? Well, that's the question that the occupiers are asking about the Bohemian Grove, which they say belongs to everyone and not just the 1%.
What's going on up there?
At the gates of the Bohemian Grove, a line of riot police made sure that everyone didn't gain access to the lair of the 1%. Abby Martin, RT, Monte Rio, California.
The Bohemian Grove was founded in 1878 by the Bohemian Club, which was formed in 1872. It is 2,700 acres of private land in Monte Rio, California, where every summer in July, hundreds of the most powerful and influential men attend what is known as the cremation of care ceremony. An early version of it was photographed in 1915 and published by National Geographic. In 1989, a writer for Spy magazine infiltrated Bohemian Grove and mentioned the cremation of care ceremony, but did not mention the effigy. The article mostly focused on powerful drunk men dressing in drag and engaged in homoerotic behavior. In 2000, when Alex Jones captured the ceremony on video, you can see an effigy, a model of a person to be destroyed, being burned alive in a ritual sacrifice.
Midsummer sets us free.
Around the time that Alex Jones was there filming it, musician Kid Rock was there as a guest.
Did you?
You went to the Grove?
Yeah. It was the first evening, and you gather around whatever, the owl by this lake, if I remember correctly, which could be a little hazy. It was a long time ago. And like, I've heard about this place. I'm like, this is some real secret ass shit, man. I can't believe I'm fucking here, right? And it's just a trove of celebrities. I met like Paul Pelosi and his son.
Oh boy.
And like Chris Matthews, like, you know.
Oh,
but I was
okay.
hanging out with them. We were having cool conversations. Kind of weird. And then they asked me like I had to come play my guitar.
Oh no.
And like sing at one of these camp things. And I was like, I feel so used. I feel so dirty.
The oldest religion on earth can still be found within many secret societies, the New Age movement, and hiding within many churches, mosques, and synagogues. The basis of this ancient religion is the attainment of counsel from advanced entities for one to gain earthly wealth and power. These advanced entities have a hunger for human life, which is how human sacrifice factors into this ancient transaction. By 2012, a handful of men were making individual claims that they witnessed human sacrifice at Bohemian Grove. Peter Chernoff says that the men taking part in the sacrifice went on to hold various positions of power in society.
Peter, you've witnessed children being sacrificed at the Grove?
You know, I did. At the Bohemian Grove, I was involved in a rather private ritual, Catholic, Nazi, satanic in nature, a service, a working, if you will, with 9 relative unknowns at the time, so to speak. Willie Brown, Arlen Specter, Barney Frank, Roger Mahoney, Ratzinger, who's now the Pope, Robert Byrd, George Bush Sr., and Warren Buffett, and the Master of Ceremonies was Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino. The cremation of care, what it is, really, it's a discussion regarding population control. They're making decisions as to what group of millions of people they're going to genocide next. And we all have seen the genocides over the last 10, 15 years for anybody that's paying even a modicum of attention.
Over the years, other people have snuck inside to take video.
No way. Bohemian Grove. I made it. Yeah. This is the owl statue.
In a phone conversation published by former Project Veritas employee Justin Leslie, James O'Keefe is asked about his recent attendance at the Bohemian Grove.
I was just a guest. I didn't see anything wrong there. Some of our people that I've known for many years were there. If I saw something, I would tell you, but you know, I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff, and I didn't see anything. And there's a lot of people that support us that are involved in that.
This year, the cremation of care ceremony was conducted on July 13th, the same day that Trump narrowly survived an assassination attempt. This ancient religion is entrenched within the foundations of civilization. It is the culture that created democracy. It has been around for all of recorded history. People are just now starting to see it again. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Bohemian Club is set up in San Francisco in 1872, and basically this is a club for journalists, for people who are exploring and thinking about ideas, the cool kids, if you will. Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, Kissinger is in the club.
But the city is no place to forge fraternal bonds. That happens in a hidden forest in Northern California called Bohemian Grove.
It's really like the ultimate sleepaway summer camp for rich and famous men. They sleep in tents, they drink heavily, and they also network.
Don't let the laughs and liquor fool you. Members gather at the Bohemian Grove to hatch plans that change history.
No less than the Manhattan Project was agreed upon here. J. Robert Oppenheimer first breaches the idea at Bohemian Grove. We can thank atomic weaponry and atomic power for what happens at Bohemian Grove.
Before getting down to business, the retreat kicks off with an odd ritual. This is when things get weird.
The retreat begins with an ornate ceremony called the cremation of care. The idea being that we are here to take the weight of power off of our shoulders. We're leaving behind the cares of the outer world.
A boat known as the Ferry of Care contains an effigy in the shape of a body known as the Body of Care, and it is sent across a body of water to these dark, mysterious, hooded figures.
This effigy is placed at the feet of this 40-foot owl structure that's covered in moss and leaves, and it is set afire. And so is immolated the cares of the world, and so is sealed a bond of privacy among members.
This 40-foot owl statue, this shrine, is so important to these men. They've actually come up with a name for it that has deep meaning for them. They call it the owl.
And apparently, the owl speaks with the voice of famed newsman Walter Cronkite. An owl that sounds like Walter Cronkite. Super weird, but that's how the rich and powerful get down.
I'm Walter Cronkite, and that's the way it is. The Bohemian Club is still active today, planning who knows what. Because remember, what happens in the Grove stays in the Grove. To date, Bohemian Grove has a several decades-long waiting list for admission. Wonder when I'll get my invite. But I digress. Talking owls might seem tame compared to this next ritual performed by members of another powerful secret society.
Founded in 1832, Skull and Bones will become the first of what will later be called the Ancient Eight Consortium of Yale's secret societies. So shrouded in secrecy is the Skull and Bones that when two Bonesmen, George W. Bush and John Kerry, run against each other in the 2004 presidential election, the media pestered them constantly on what was it like in the Skull and Bones, and zip mum's the word, neither of them say a single thing about it.
What if in Skull and Bones, the secret society? The social group can't talk about it. What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the rest.
Number 322?
First of all, he's not the nominee. And, look, I look forward.
Are you prepared to lose?
No, I'm not going to lose.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret. Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code? I wish there were something secret I could manifest. 322, secret number? There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it. And we'll be watching. Be safe on the campaign trail. John Kerry, thanks for joining us. And we'll be right back.